Policy templates form the brain of NDFC. NDFC is tightly coupled with multiple policy templates in order to automate the deployment of different types of fabrics, underlay and overlay networks, interfaces, service node insertion, and much more. Policy templates adapt to user needs and preferences, and all types of configurations rely on Cisco best practices. This section is more for your information to understand how NDFC works, why NDFC is so flexible for the end user. And actually, you don't need to know how policy template works to deploy, for example, a VXLAN VPN fabric, but if you want to identify the template that has been used to deploy a particular functions, or if you want to create your own custom configuration, then it might be useful. The policy template is like a configuration profile associated to a particular functions. NDFC relies on different policy templates to automate the infrastructure, from the VXLAN VPN fabric deployment up to the overlay networks and VRF or VRF light handoff or the embedded service node insertions like we just saw, and much more. In fact, any feature that you wish to deploy, NDFC will automatically compute the required configuration using the policy templates associated to the concerned features. And there are several policy templates, each one covering a particular functions. For example, assuming that you create a new VXLAN EVPN fabric, then select the appropriate fabric template, which in this case is the Easy Fabric templates for NXOS, or now it is called Data Center VXLAN EVPN template or profiles. And you have seen a demo in the Module 2, Section 2. So you may need to create the service node using PBR, or you need to create a VPC domain, or you wish to automate the external layer 3 connectivity using VRF Lite, or you want to use ISIS as your underlay transport, etc. Hence, you just need to check the box for the required functions under the fabric settings, and NDFC will call the policy templates of interest associated with the fabric template, pre-configured using the default settings and customizable to suit your particular requirements. And when ready, you recalculate the configuration aligned with your intent, and then you can deploy. After all the configuration has been built from the policy templates, NDFC will push all the NXOS CLI-based commands toward the concerned node. As a result, the end-to-end infrastructure is automatically deployed in few clicks and get your fabric underlay networks ready in few minutes, right? And same applies for any further changes made on the fly for the overlay networks and the VRF creation and attachment, for service node insertion, for VPC pairing, and much more. The automatic fabric deployment relying on the policy templates helps you to build a solid fabric with creation of overlay networks easily, even if you don't have any experience with VXLAN VPN transport or with layer 2 and layer 3 overlay networks, with VPC or PBR, TRM. You can rest assured that your modern network fabric will be deployed following Cisco recommendations. Different policy templates are assembled to build the end-to-end configuration, and NDFC always offers you the possibility to preview any configuration if you want, and ultimately the configurations are sent to the concerned devices. All policy templates rely on Cisco network best practices to deploy the fabric and according to the end user requirement in terms of transport, features, and resources he wants to enable. You don't have to care about the configuration per se. NDFC does it for you. That eliminates high risks of human mistakes. All policy templates are available from the template menu. This snapshot shows you a list of policy templates. You can use filters to retrieve quickly the concerned feature. And you can customize a policy template for a particular need of the fabric and validate afterwards the changes. An important note is never change the original template file. if you wish to customize your script, just first duplicate the original template file, save it using a different name, apply your change and upload it as a new template that NDFC will be able to use after the custom template has been validated. You can retrieve the policy templates used to configure the switches. So you need to choose the LAN policy to display the list of policies. And as a result, you get an exhaustive list of policy deployed based on the selected domain. Different policy templates are brought together to generate the configurations. You can filter based on several parameters to retrieve a specific template associated to a particular component. For example, if you want to view the policy templates used to configure the host name of the border gateway 135, for example, you can search for the switch name containing 135 and the policy name that contains the word hosts. You can view, edit, delete the parameters associated to a particular entity. You can customize your own policy or edit and push your own CLI-based configuration, if needed, to different elements. There are at least two options deploying your own templates. As already mentioned, you can create your own Python script to push the CLI command of choice to the network device. This is interesting as, for example, you can pop up windows with all custom parameters of interest and call the end user to fill up different fields with their values of choice. Or if you want to use the traditional NXOS network configuration, you can edit a freeform template with your well-known CLI commands, save it and push it to the concerned devices, the same CLI that you used to use from the console port. The goal of the freeform is to provide a maximum of flexibility for the end user to configure very quickly almost everything that it's not natively available with the NDFC GUI. So that way your CLI-based intent is in sync with the central management platform NDFC, and NDFC is therefore aware of your configuration that it can monitor. The freeform policy can be associated to one or multiple switches or all switches at a time. It can be used at the fabric level, at the device level, at the interface level, or link or protocol, or at the network level, right? Many options. And then you save and deploy your own freeform template, and consequently NDFC pushes your own configuration to one or multiple switches, synchronizing the NDFC database with your CLI. You can assign a policy to one or multiple switches that you select from the proposed list of available switches. You can customize or create your own policy template if not available. When done, you need to assign the policy to the concerned switch. You can select one or multiple switches to which you need to apply the policy. Select the policy templates of interest, including the custom policy templates you imported. You can use filters. You can view or update the editable user parameters. And finally, you can preview the generated configurations and push it afterwards. Let's visualize this with a demo. The scenario here shows how to configure HSRP using a CLI approach with a freeform template. Notice that since I recorded this demo, the SVI interface with FHRP configuration is already embedded with NDFC 12.1. First, select the device of choice, then create a new freeform template for this configuration, save and deploy. You can always view, change the CLI or delete the freeform template on the fly. This action will be taken as soon as you save and deploy it. This is your VXLAN EVPN fabric topology. The goal is to configure an SVI for an interface VLAN 20 local to the switch. This VLAN is not stretched across the VXLAN EVPN fabric and belongs to the default VRF. Identify the switch where you wish to deploy your CLI config using a freeform template. There is an application called Tool attached to the switch LIF4 interface E1/19. Double-click on Leaf 4. From the Action drop-down menu, run the detailed view. Select the Interface tab and look for the interface Ethernet 1/19. Edit the interface. On the trunk allowed VLAN, replace none by the VLAN ID 20 and do a save. You can now preview the configuration pushed by NDFC and you deploy. You can move now to the Policy tab, go to Actions and select Add a Policy. As you are already at the switch level, the switch leaf 4 is already selected by default. Choose a template. In the filter area, enter Free for Freeform. Select the template called Switch Freeform to configure it. Give a description. SVI for App Tool 20. Fill up the Freeform config area with your CLI command. You can use copy-paste from a script or from running an XOS prompt. As you can see, this is a basic interface VLAN configurations for the VLAN 20. The SVI IP address defined is 20.20.20.254. Do a save and return to the policy menu. Use the filter to retrieve the Freeform template. Select the one you just created. And from the Action drop-down menu, select Push the configuration. After a few seconds, a pop-up window informs you that the configuration has been pushed with success. You can now go to the application tool and check if the network connectivity between the apps and the SVI is established. Let's try a ping 220.20.20.254. So the ping is working. As you can see, the CLI-based configurations has been deployed using a switch freeform template.